Welcome to channel. Today, we explore story filled with unexpected twists. Please, subscribe and like to stay updated. Let's begin. Arriving at my home in Bristol early Saturday morning, I felt relieved to finally be home after a long and tiring trip from Portsmouth. As usual on Saturdays, the traffic had been terrible, and I was delayed for several hours due to congestion on the freeway. I assumed that my wife Laura had been asleep for several hours, but I was surprised to find that she hadn't left the light on for me. Dragging my bags and briefcase with difficulty, I reached the front door. When I entered the house, I immediately felt that something was wrong. The house was unusually cold, indicating that the heating had been turned off or shut down. It wasn't like Laura, who usually kept the house warm. After putting down my bags, I turned on the light and was horrified to find that some of our furniture was gone. Feeling disoriented, I hurried upstairs to our bedroom, expecting to find Laura asleep in bed. To my surprise, the bed was empty. I noticed that the closet doors and dresser drawers were open and that most of her clothes were missing. I stood there speechless for a moment, trying to figure out what was going on. Feeling the need for a drink, I went into the living room and poured myself a glass of whiskey. As I sat down in the armchair, I thought about the situation I found myself in. It was clear that my wife, with whom I had been married for almost 15 years, had left me. But why? We had two wonderful 18-year-old twin girls who were in their first year at Leeds University. Don't try to calculate the timeline. Laura was already 4 months pregnant when we tied the knot. To be honest, Laura and I weren't madly in love when we got married. We had just met and enjoyed each other's company. But life happened, and we made a mistake. Laura ended up pregnant with Ella and Lily. I did what I had to do. There was no choice. My father would have been furious if I hadn't. But love works in mysterious ways. I quickly realized that I was head over heels in love with Laura and my daughters. They became the center of my world. I did everything for Laura to make her happy, not caring what others thought. My devotion to her was unwavering. When the girls left for university, we were finally able to reconnect, but things didn't always go smoothly. Laura was a strong-willed woman, and I often gave in to her to avoid conflicts. I was mostly happy with my marriage, but it seemed like everything was just a facade, especially from Laura's side. It turned out that she had left me, leaving me at a complete loss. Despite her frequent declarations of love, I couldn't understand her sudden departure. We both admitted that our marriage might not have happened if it hadn't been for her pregnancy, and yet we agreed that it had been a blessing in disguise, leading to the deep love that arose between us after the wedding. It seemed that someone had reconsidered their decision. Emotions quickly got the better of me. I got angry and walked around the room, then went out into the garden to smoke a cigar. Laura didn't approve of the smell of my cigar smoke in the house, so I always went outside to indulge myself. 10 minutes later, I realized that Laura wasn't there to object and probably wouldn't be in the future. Despite this, I continued to finish my cigar outside. When I entered the house through the back door, I noticed a letter lying on the kitchen table. I paused for a time, looked at it closely. The envelope had Kev scribbled on it, an obvious clue that it was from Laura. I recognized she was furious when she sent the letter because she only called me Kev when she was angry. I hesitated to open it, knowing that I would not like what was inside. With meticulous care, I tore open the envelope and carefully withdrew the letter placed inside it. "You are a lying, selfish scoundrel," the letter started. "I can't stand your lies and infidelity anymore. I'm leaving you. I believed that you loved me, but now I realize that I was wrong. You cheated on me with a young girl behind my back, and I have proof of that. I'm going to see a lawyer on Sunday to file for divorce and get everything I'm entitled to. He'll make sure you learn that you can't betray me. Did you ever think about our daughters while you were involved with this woman? She's not much older than our twins. I will definitely take everything away from you, you despicable man. Start looking for a new place to live because you won't be able to stay in this house once I'm done with you. And if I see the girl again, tell her I'm going to gouge out her bloody eyes." Laura, who is this person that Laura thinks I'm having an affair with? There must have been an error in the information somewhere. Do I look like a man who cheats on his wife? No. I value what I have, and I would never want to put it in danger. If anything, I would have dumped Laura if I were that kind of person. Yes, there were times when I succumbed to temptation just like any guy, but I was always aware of the consequences and was careful in my actions. Despite this, Laura seemed to believe otherwise. So, what do I do next? The only logical option was to go to bed. I had not slept since 7 a.m. on Thursday, and it was early Saturday morning, so I decided to sleep. It'd be safer that way. I've been successful in business by controlling my emotions, and that's exactly what I did in this situation. After identifying the problem, I felt relieved that I could easily calm Laura and put her fears to rest. All I had to do was convince her that her suspicions were unfounded and the crisis would be avoided. But as soon as I got into bed, I couldn't sleep. Unexpected questions swarmed in my head. If Laura thought I was unfaithful, then why didn't she ask me about it? It was a reasonable question. Did she really think I was cheating? Was she capable of such behavior? But what could make her think that? Over the years, I've realized that people often expect others to behave in ways that reflect their own actions. Wait a minute. Could Laura believe I was unfaithful because she cheated on me herself and then, for some reason, suspected me of the same thing? At the very thought, I instantly jumped out of bed. This was serious. Without thinking for a second, I began to scour the house in search of at least some clue pointing to Laura's infidelity. I even turned her sewing room inside out. The drawers in her bedroom were empty, so it was useless to search there. Then I went to her computer and dug through it for several hours. After easily cracking her email passwords, I spent hours reviewing her internet browsing history. It seemed like a pointless exercise, but I knew it was necessary. Despite my best efforts, I only came across Laura's search for a divorce lawyer, which she had conducted on Thursday. There was no evidence that she had contacted the lawyer she claimed to have chosen. A crazy thought struck me: to win, you need to be proactive. There were many chances, but I decided to give it a try. A little after 9 a.m., I sent an email to the lawyer she had chosen to represent her in the divorce case. There was a tiny possibility that Laura hadn't talked to them yet. Fortunately, I got a rapid answer requesting me to come to the office promptly by 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. I handed Monica the check, and she became my lawyer. Laura didn't seem to know that some lawyers work on Sundays. After I told Monica about my findings and showed her the letter, she asked if I had ever cheated in my marriage. I assured her of my love for my wife and insisted that I had never done anything that could jeopardize our relationship. Monica encouraged me to be cool and attempt to locate Laura to speak to. She believed that most likely it was just a misunderstanding that could be resolved through open communication. When I came home, I began searching for Laura. I contacted her parents and brother, but they both denied knowing anything about her whereabouts. She didn't seem to have informed them of her plans. The same could be said for her sister, who I assumed lived too far away for Laura to visit. Laura's relatives quickly sided with her as soon as they found out the reason for her departure. I knew the next call would be difficult, but it was my best option. I reluctantly called Laura's friend Vanessa's number. Vanessa could be sweet one moment, and then a complete nightmare the next. Laura and Vanessa were friends since high school. When Vanessa wasn't with one of her many boyfriends, she often went on dates with Laura. Every 3 weeks, Laura and Vanessa would have a bachelorette party, and often, Laura would call me to take her home because Vanessa had found someone new to spend time with. Laura and I used to joke about it. I always trusted her. I dialed Vanessa's number and realized the conversation would not be easy. Vanessa became enraged as soon as she heard my voice. I calmly asked to speak to Laura, but Vanessa insisted that she wasn't at her house. I was sure she was lying, especially since her anger hinted that she knew Laura had left me. After several minutes of useless arguments, I finally gave up and stopped talking. The familiar feeling of heartache washed over me again. I went outside to smoke, trying to calm down. Standing there, I realized that Laura was playing games with me. Her disappearance should have provoked me, but I didn't want it to hurt me. I had nothing to be ashamed of. If she wanted to play games, then I would play along with her. I returned to the house and called the twins, shocking them with the news that their mother had abandoned me. Naturally, I assured them that I wasn't to blame for anything. Laura could have left me, and as I understood it, they believed me. I mentioned that I suspected Laura was staying with Vanessa, and to be honest, I wouldn't mind if she stayed there. The girls assured me that it was probably just a misunderstanding, and that their mother would come to her senses. I felt guilty for dragging the girls into our drama, but I knew they would explain everything to their mother. After our conversation, I went to the garage. After buying the house, I decided to change the bolts and locks on the exterior doors for several reasons. First, we weren't sure we had been given all the keys to the house. And second, we had the same set of keys for all the doors. This way, we only needed one key for all the exterior doors, making it more convenient to carry. Installing the Euro lock took only a few minutes, but later, I went back to the old locks, turned off the garage door opener, and boarded up the shutters. Laura wanted to leave, and now she's gone. She won't be able to come back. While I was adjusting the shutters on the garage, my neighbor, Old Man Harris, came up to me. He and his wife were very curious, so I assumed they had noticed Laura's move and had come to gather gossip. I didn't tell him much, but I found out that on Thursday morning, a rented truck arrived with 2 men and a woman who helped carry a lot of things out of the house. The 2 men drove off in the truck, and Laura followed them in her Vauxhall Astra. Another woman drove off in her red Fiat 500, confirming my suspicions that it was Vanessa. I took care to secure the house. I drew all the curtains downstairs, closed the blinds, and locked the windows in the garage. Despite the privacy outside, I could still keep an eye on the front door and driveway through the video surveillance system I had installed many years ago. Then, I dialed Vanessa's number again. I told you, Kev, Laura's not here. I don't know her whereabouts, and even if I did, I wouldn't disclose this information to you. You liar. Okay, Vanessa, I understand your situation. If you happen to meet Laura, give her a message from me. Let her know that having decided to believe baseless gossip and not listen to my version, I am no longer interested in knowing where she went. Moreover, I have no desire to see her again. If you happen to see her, could you ask her to tell me where I should send my lawyer to file for divorce? I'm planning to file for divorce because she left me. Let's see who gets the better of her little idea. You can't do that. She's planning to divorce you because of cheating. Vanessa, for her to do that, I'd have to really cheat on her. Since I know I didn't cheat, I'm completely safe, so don't worry about it. The divorce will most likely be in my favor since Laura has decided to leave me, as evidenced by that stupid letter she sent me. After consulting with a lawyer, I was assured that this was all I needed. But Vanessa accidentally said more than she intended. At first, she said, and then corrected herself, saying, that little mistake was enough for me to realize that Vanessa thinks she saw me with another woman. If Vanessa had said exactly what I said, would that have raised Laura's doubts? To distract myself, I went to the kitchen and cooked a meal. When the sun set and it got dark outside, I quietly went out the back door and walked around the perimeter of the house so that no outsiders could look inside. Laura started a game, and I agreed to play it. I settled down in front of the computer, delaying the time until the expected fun began. At 9:15 p.m., I noticed Laura's Vauxhall Astra driving up to the house on the TV screen. It looked like Laura had changed her plans. I watched her sit in the car and stare at the house for a while, and then Vanessa came up to her and joined her in the car. It seemed that Vanessa had arrived in her car and parked it on the street. Laura looked unsure of her decision, perhaps doubting the evidence she had or realizing she might have been mistaken. In any case, it seemed that she hoped for reconciliation. If Laura had moved back in, I couldn't blame her for leaving me. After waiting for about 20 minutes, Laura got out of the car and tried to unlock the front door. It turned out that she tried to open the garage door with the remote control but then gave up. Laura struggled with the key in the lock, but it was useless. She rang the doorbell several times and called me through the mailbox. Vanessa got out of the Ford and joined her. Their voices were muffled as they tried to find a way to get inside. They moved out of the surveillance camera's line of sight, and all I could make out was that Vanessa suggested they try another door. I eventually heard them at the kitchen door, then at the patio door a few feet away. They walked back to the front door, tried the key again, and then Laura attempted to physically raise the garage shutters. After giving up on that futile effort, the pair returned to the Vauxhall Astra and had a spirited chat in the vehicle. The talk ended when Vanessa departed and Laura returned to her vehicle. Laura spent the next 40 minutes sitting in the vehicle and making many calls on her mobile phone but not talking to anybody. I could only guess that she was attempting to get through to her home phone, but it was continually busy. She must have attempted to contact my mobile phone, which I had switched off. Vanessa returned with a bag from Subway and climbed into the Vauxhall Astra with Laura. They remained in the vehicle till late at night and then abruptly drove away. I peered out from behind the curtain and noted that Vanessa's Fiat 500 was still parked on the street, which made me assume they would be returning the following morning. They spent the entire Sunday in the driveway, and Vanessa went to the closest Subway numerous times again. They departed late at night, this time taking Vanessa's vehicle with them. I figured Vanessa would need a vehicle for work the following morning, so I went up early on Sunday and checked if they would show up again. I proceeded to the service area on the interstate, where I ate a poor breakfast and read the newspaper until it was time to go to work. Surprisingly, I was the first in the workplace that morning. I knew the drama would stop that day, since Laura would undoubtedly phone me at work. I felt like I was going to get back at her for frightening me on Thursday night. At 8:05 a.m., the phone rang. Laura's voice boomed out, asking where I had been all weekend. Her verbal onslaught made me feel out of place once again. I hoped Laura would be more kind in the morning. I don't advocate attempting to enter the home again. Laura, you don't live there anymore, remember? I leased it out since it's too large for just me, I said, knowing it was a lie. This appeared to aggravate Laura even more. Are you crazy? You cannot turn it in. Why are you doing this? Listen, Laura, we're about to have an expensive trial. The cash from renting out the property will help us pay our bills. You are being unreasonable. No, Laura, you were being unreasonable when you began this. You accused me of adultery, insulted me in that idiotic letter, and then refused to interact with me while hiding at Vanessa's home. Kev, we need chat. It is too late to discuss now, Laura. The chat took place on Thursday evening. Now is the moment for attorneys to earn money. That is the end of it. You don't even have the courtesy to apologize for your behavior. Instead, you seem pleased that you finally let go of me after almost 2 decades. Wait, let's work this out. I did nothing worth apologizing for. You went, leaving a cruel message that almost caused me a heart attack. You initiated the conversation regarding divorce. I propose you meet with the lawyer you indicated and provide me with his contact information so that I may do the same. Goodbye, Laura. After the talk was over, I couldn't help but worry whether I had gone too far. Maybe I did, but there is nothing worse than discovering that your lover is cheating on you. It's much worse if a loved one doesn't trust you. With conflicting feelings, I made many required phone calls. The first step was to contact representatives from Falcon Van Hire to clarify some details. They provided me a phone number, and I had a lengthy talk with a regretful employee. I had only seen him once at one of Vanessa's parties, and I believe I scared him away. I issued an international call to cover my tracks. Monica Carter called me about half an hour later. She seemed annoyed. Mr. Carter, your wife has just visited us, and it appears she intends to hire me today to represent her interests. Yes, I had a feeling it was her intention, but knowing you were the best divorce lawyer, I decided it would be more profitable for me if you represented my interests rather than hers. My assistant referred her to another office. I'm just warning you, they're known to be highly skilled and expensive. Monica, no disrespect, but do you know of a more accessible lawyer? Kev, here is your money. Feel free to express your opinion. But why don't you talk to her directly to resolve this situation? The answer lies in the name Laura calls me. She called me Kev, which indicates her anger at me. She refuses to listen when I deny that I had an affair. If she believed me, she would have called me Kev. It's very simple. Laura never called me Kev. I don't quite understand your reasoning, but I think it would be useful for the two of you to talk. I'm ready to do it when Laura is ready to listen. But I have some important questions for her. If I don't get satisfactory answers, you'll take care of our divorce. Kev, do you suspect that your wife was unfaithful? Not really, but it seems she quickly believed I could be like that. I've always noticed that people tend to think of others as they are themselves. It made me wonder, was Laura as loyal to me as she expected me to be to her? She doesn't seem in a hurry to judge me now. I understand your point of view, although this is a new perspective for me. Let's wait and see what happens. Okay, I'll call you later, Monica. I couldn't concentrate on work until the morning, and it was almost noon when Laura called me back. Kev, we need to talk immediately. I reluctantly agreed to meet her at 2 p.m. in a pub near my office. Dropping my initial defensive stance, Laura seemed stunned by my sudden change of mood. But as soon as she called me Kev, I realized that the battle was far from over. Sitting in a secluded corner, I watched Laura come in and sit right in front of me, ignoring the seat I had left for her next to me in the booth. Aren't you going to buy me a drink? She demanded. No, you can buy your own drinks, I replied. You left me, remember? You don't need me. Laura was surprised by my reaction. She seemed to think I had betrayed her and was ready to defend herself. She got up and went to the bar to get a drink. When she returned, she demanded an explanation. What do you have to say for yourself? She asked. I was puzzled by her accusation. Laura, I have no idea what you're talking about. What do you think I should apologize for? I replied. I don't know. Last weekend, you were in South End with a young girl. You were seen, so don't try to deny it. Laura, I was in Aberdeen last week. You knew about it. We talked a few times. I don't know anything about that. I called you on your cell phone. You could have been in Vienna for all I know. And they told me you were in South End with a girl. Laura, I was working. You know my schedule. I visit Inverness, Aberdeen, and Swansea 4 times a year, spending 4 days in each city. I've been following this routine for almost 5 years now. But someone claims to have seen me in Southend? All right, Laura, who saw me in Southend? Whoever claims to have seen me is either mistaken or lying. Why would anyone visit that damn Southend at this time of year? It should be incredibly cold on the coast at this time. You can look at the lights. Vanessa recently went on a bus tour to see the Southend Pier illuminations and do her Christmas shopping. She said she saw you with the girl, who she called a little girl. According to Vanessa, you seemed to be completely absorbed in her, passing by her many times without noticing. She even followed the two of you to your room. No wonder, I thought to myself. Laura, how long have I known Vanessa? I think since you've known me. And do you think I wouldn't have noticed Vanessa if we were staying in the same hotel? Oh yes? And how long was I supposed to stay in the same hotel with her? All weekend. She went on a trip from Thursday to Sunday. Where are your arguments, Laura? I don't like Vanessa, but she has a presence. Do you really think any man wouldn't notice those short, revealing skirts she wears? Those high-heeled shoes that announce her arrival 10 minutes before she actually shows up? I've already said that Vanessa is very beautiful. Every guy notices Vanessa when she walks into her room. Unfortunately, many guys have seen this through their own experience. Laura seemed a little confused during the conversation and was about to give up and apologize when Vanessa suddenly burst through the door. She walked straight to our table, suddenly sat down next to me, and hugged me triumphantly. She took out a small folder usually used for photo prints and turned to me. Explain it, you idiot, she demanded, thrusting a photo in my face. After a quick glance at the picture, I couldn't help but smile. I took the photo from Vanessa and showed it to Laura. Didn't you find out, Laura? Vanessa took some beautiful photos. Vanessa, you took some pictures of my brother. Did you know he was in the country? Laura, did you know? It looks like their ship docked in Hull. Brian probably took Giali to see the illuminations in Southend. Their ship usually docks in Antwerp. My twin brother is married to Giali, a beautiful Chinese woman he met in Singapore. They live on a container ship where he is the first mate. The ship docks for such a short time that many married crew members take their spouses with them. Besides, I want to say that my brother and I are identical twins, just like my daughters. It seems like twins are a common occurrence in my family. Laura burst into tears, and Vanessa sat in shock. Vanessa, did you say hello to Phil? I remember you were in love with him during our wedding. But that was a long time ago, wasn't it? Now they were both crying. Laura had made a big mistake, and Vanessa was upset that she had inadvertently provoked Laura. While they were both trying to recover, I sat and watched them, sipping a beer. Eventually, they stopped crying, but it was obvious they couldn't find the words. Vanessa spoke first. I'm sorry. I forgot about Phil, Kev. I honestly thought it was you. You're very similar. Well, that's not surprising, considering we're identical twins. Vanessa, you don't have to worry about not remembering Phil. I doubt very much that he will remember someone like you. I admit, it was a little rude, but I was very angry. I'm sorry, Kev, Vanessa muttered. Laura seemed to have regained her confidence. I just didn't think about Brian. Can you forgive me for my stupidity? I hope you understand what it looked like. No, I can't forgive you, I said angrily, which shocked both girls. Laura, I have a question for you. What made you believe I would betray you? We've been married for 15 years. Did I do something that made you doubt my loyalty? No, Kev. You were a wonderful husband and father to our daughters. So why were you so sure of my infidelity? And before you answer, think about this. Don't tell me it's because Vanessa told you. That means you trust her more than you trust me. I am your husband, the one who has taken care of you and our family for the past 15 years. I was the one who came sprinting to locate you after your alleged lover deserted you during your walks together. I've never said anything against it. Laura sat in quiet, carefully analyzing my comments. After a minute, I spoke again. Why did you decide so quickly that I would betray you? Maybe because you've had experience with infidelity yourself? It's often said that people think others will do the same as them. This thought never crossed my mind. Maybe I was naive, but I never thought you could be unfaithful to me. I've never seen myself betraying you, so I've always believed you wouldn't betray me either. But now, Laura, it looks like you've changed the rules. Now I realize that I was too trusting. Without thinking, you decided that I was cheating on you. You didn't even give me a chance to explain. You just implicitly believed your friend's accusations. Now you need to prove to me that you've never cheated on me. You've come home late so many times, even stayed at Vanessa's. What did you do while I was away? I swear, Kev, I've never cheated on you, Laura stated. Really? So, who were the two jerks driving the Horizon rental truck on Thursday? So why did you kiss one of them? Laura visibly flinched as I mentioned the kiss. They're a couple of guys from Vanessa's office, who she asked to help me, she told me. And how did you compensate them for assisting you? You return things to Vanessa's house, just like Vanessa pays off her debts? Laura knew what I meant. Vanessa has previously discussed how she paid for items like auto upkeep. I had repeatedly warned her about the formidable nature of the garage owner's wife. I once witnessed their confrontation, which was both funny and slightly belittling. Let's be honest, most men find a good catfight funny. I never saw the woman her husband was caught with again. I would never do that. I kissed him on the cheek to thank him for his help. It was just a quick kiss, nothing more. And it happened in public where everyone could see. There was nothing else in Vanessa's home. Please trust me, Kev. After unloading the van, they swiftly started out on their trip back. They needed to get the van back quickly. If that's the case, explain why you were charged more. The vehicle wasn't returned until 10 a.m. on Thursday morning. When you hire a vehicle online, they provide the documentation via email. I saw in the letter that the vehicle was not returned until 10 a.m. on Thursday morning. So what actually happened? I should go before I lose my anger. Vanessa, let me out of here before I run you off the road. Vanessa stood up as I rushed past her. I went back to Laura and replied, I expect you to be totally honest. I have acquaintances that frequent the same nightclubs as you and that lady. You need to decide quickly if you want to attempt to salvage our marriage. I do not care right now. But if I hear rumors about your actions over the past few years, you better confess to me first. I left the bar thinking that neither Laura nor I were foolish. My friends had always been concerned about Laura and Vanessa, even though I hadn't asked for it. Vanessa was well known for being a lover of a variety of guys. But ID heard Laura had gained a moniker among the clubgoers, the Ice Maiden. Laura was often the light of the party on the dance floor, but her communication skills were limited. Laura now faced a problem. She had no idea who my friends were or how they would describe her behavior to me. If she really acted improperly, she would have to confess it to me. After a late lunch, I concluded it was futile to return to the workplace and left. When I arrived, I observed a blinking message indicator on the answering machine, which indicated missed calls. Laura left multiple messages inquiring about my location and why she couldn't get into the home. Trevor Adams also placed a call. We attended school together. We weren't close friends back then, but I silently assisted him with his schoolwork, which helped him get such high scores. Ryan may have enjoyed hanging around with his pals, but deep down he wanted to study well, so I became his unofficial instructor. Hello, Kev. I've been trying to reach you all weekend. What's happening, buddy? Laura and Vanessa were at the club on Thursday, and Vanessa circulated stories about your breakup. Call me. I need to know how you plan to handle this scenario. I phoned Ryan back, but before I could continue, he told me he was on his way and quickly stopped our discussion. Of course, 15 minutes later, his automobile was already coming into my driveway. Ryan, a rough person with a bad history, had changed his life after joining a famous gym and becoming an amateur boxer. This led to his working as a bouncer at a prominent local nightclub, eventually ascending to the position of manager. Some people believe he has an interest in numerous local nightclubs, which does not surprise me. Anyway, Ryan does not ignore me. He was always concerned about my well-being when it came to Laura. Whether he contacted me at work or showed up at the bar where I was eating lunch, he would quietly advise me of Laura's dance floor conduct and any inappropriate attempts. I believe Ryan or his security team would have interfered if some man had coaxed her into leaving with him. Ryan told me that Laura is known as the Ice Maiden. Ryan denied my offer of a drink due to his late shift, so we opted for coffee. So, Kev, what's going on with you and Laura? He asked. She was at the club on Thursday, and Vanessa circulated stories about your breakup. She stated that you slept with a female in South End last weekend. Please tell me that's not true. Vanessa visited South End last week and spotted Brian with his partner. Vanessa believed it was me and told Laura. When I returned from Aberdeen, I discovered that Laura had left without a word. I was unhappy about the situation, but nothing had been determined between us yet. I was upset that Laura didn't talk to me before moving out, and I started to wonder if she had cheated on me. Don't worry, no one can get into Laura's trousers. I am totally certain about that. When a few males learned about your argument with her, they helped take advantage of the situation on Thursday night. But from what I heard, the ice was colder than normal. Laura and Vanessa departed early, and a cab drove them directly to Vanessa's home. I talked to the driver and decided that you should know. Thank you for watching out, Ryan. It's always good to have friends like you. I'm just doing my job, Kevin. By the way, you haven't visited the club in a while. The guys miss you. Following that, the subject shifted to finding out what our former pals were doing. Time flew quickly, and before we knew it, it was nearly 8, and Ryan stated that he needed to head to the club. Laura came just as Ryan was leaving, and I spotted her doing a double take. She looked perplexed, clearly recognizing him, but unaware that I recognized him. Standing at the doorway, I watched her up the stairs and asked, "Isn't that Morris, the manager of Lunar Lounge? Why was he here?" "Trevor Adams. Do you know him?" "Yes, he is an old friend of mine. He came to assist us throughout our upcoming divorce. Come and have a seat in the kitchen. I have already prepared coffee." I followed Laura into the kitchen, where I made myself a cup of coffee. This was my house, and I was going to govern it. "Look, Kev, this is crazy. I realize you're unhappy with me, but you're being immature. Vanessa was certain it was you she saw. How was she supposed to know Brian and Gialli were in town? What ideas would you have had in my position? If I hadn't double-checked the facts, I could have believed Vanessa was incorrect. But you didn't care to check, did you? Instead, you decided to leave me. Look, Kev, I was wrong, and I accept it. But why won't you let me into the house? Because you decided it wasn't your home anymore and walked out the door on Thursday. You basically ruined our marriage. Come on, Kev, stop being foolish. I was irritated and trying to get my point across. I quickly understood that was a foolish error. I'm sorry, but I want to go home. You have made a choice. Now you have to live with it. So you're not letting me come back? No. Why? Because I don't trust you. When did Vanessa say she had seen Brian in Southend? She informed me when she returned on Sunday. Why do you want to know? Was it before or after I talked to you on the phone that night? After. So, when I phoned you on Sunday, you were already aware that Vanessa mistook me for Brian. Why didn't we meet on Sunday evening? Why didn't you contact me back on Sunday after Vanessa informed you about it? Why pretend that everything was fine? I do not know. At that moment, I didn't know what to do in the current situation. But you've already made up your mind, right? You assumed life would be simpler without me. You imagined you'd benefit financially by seizing our funds and a portion of my pension. I was insignificant to you. It was all about the money. Oh, Kev, where did you get that opinion? I just wanted to scare you. Honestly, if you just meant to terrify me, why did you steal all the furniture? Your absence alone would have terrified me. You didn't have to clean out half the house. I admit it was a little excessive, but Vanessa insisted that it would make you take me seriously. Vanessa is always the focal point of our fights. Do you understand that the majority of our arguments stem from Vanessa and the ideals she instills in you? And if Vanessa had said that she saw me with a Chinese lady, what would you recommend I do? I'd just think it was Brian. But Vanessa never mentioned that the girl she saw me with was Chinese, did she? Maybe she didn't understand. So why was Vanessa circulating stories around the club about my connection with a Chinese woman? She could not have been in the know. She claimed she had no idea the girl was Chinese until you pointed it out in those images at the bar. And it wasn't until this morning that she received these images from the darkroom. Talk to Ryan or one of your clubmates. They know what Vanessa was spreading. I have a hunch Vanessa knew Jiali and Brian as soon as she saw them. It's weird that she said she didn't recognize them. Perhaps she had a motive, but I can't figure it out. Laura, she is your buddy. You need to figure out what she's up to and why she felt so sure about it. She even suggested that I move out of the house. Laura sat silently, lost in meditation. I got up and poured myself a drink. Can I have one of those? She inquired. I poured her some whiskey and soda. Laura took a drink of her whiskey and soda and stared at me intently. Kev, can I ask you something? Anything. But will you be honest with me? I have always been honest with you. Well, there were a few times when I had to lie to you, such as when I was planning surprises. For example, our 10th anniversary honeymoon. No, this is serious. I need you to tell me the truth. Throughout our marriage, have you ever tried to sleep with Vanessa? So, who is attempting to make a joke right now? Certainly not. God only knows what illnesses she could have. She was never picky. What about your former secretary, Nicole Fisher? Are you crazy? Did you see her husband? Do you think I want to die? So you've never flirted with Vanessa? And you've never had anything with Lisa? Don't be foolish. Why are you even asking? You've never kissed Lisa? Have you? Okay, maybe a few times. I remember her husband trying to stick his tongue down your throat under the mistletoe several times at Christmas parties. Except at Christmas gatherings. Then everyone kisses beneath the mistletoe. You're being silly again by combining work and pleasure. It was a mistake, and I was pleased with the lady I had. Now I realized that I had been stupid. Laura flashed me a look that should have encouraged me to come over and comfort her. My heart was filled with sympathy for her, but I was resolved to uphold my moral ideals as a spouse in distress. But as she began to cry, my resolve crumbled. Damn that. I lost the fight. It wasn't easy to leave the tavern, particularly when Laura began weeping. She made a major tactical error. If she had just sat next to me, I would have given up immediately. I walked over and held her, consoling her until her tears ceased. Have you ever done anything in our marriage to be ashamed of? Kev, what do you think? Then why? Why, Laura? Why did Vanessa inform me that you did it? Why did she say she saw you with Lisa? Kev, it's best to ask her. She's your friend, not mine. Actually, she's no longer my friend. I don't know why, but I can put all my doubts about you and our marriage down to Vanessa. Doubts about what? Do you have any doubts that you were dating someone when away from home? And that you have something with Lisa? What? What the hell? Why haven't you told me before? I love you. I did not want to cause a scene. I was hoping that you would understand and come back to me. Laura, I will never leave you. My love for you is too strong. I figured it out now. But I should have known. I apologize, Kevin. I haven't been a good wife for you. I have not given you the trust you deserve. Will you forgive me? Laura asked. The question was challenging, but I believe you should answer it yourself. Look inside your heart and figure out why you question my commitment. Once you figure it out, I think you'll get the answer. Laura retrieved her mobile phone from her purse and purposefully phoned Vanessa's number. Vanessa, I want to make it plain that you are no longer my buddy. I don't want to see or hear from you again. Just listen and be silent. I'm contacting you because if we met in person, I'm not sure I'd be able to control my behavior. I may do something extreme. I trusted your comments for a long time, but now I see you wanted to separate me from my spouse. Your falsehoods have become so many that I have lost count. From now on, stay out of my life. Laura stared at me once she finished speaking. Can I get my things out of the car? No. Let's go to bed right now. I've really missed you these last several weeks. And you won't need any night clothes tonight. We went to bed and spent the night attempting to recreate our honeymoon. It was one of the most enjoyable evenings of our life. In the morning, I requested that our furniture be taken from Laura's leased storage space. We returned to our former lives. There were still a few legal expenses to pay. Most significantly, Vanessa was no longer part of our lives. It was absolutely worth the money. We took long to find out why Vanessa was doing this. Laura ran across an old acquaintance who informed her that before Laura and I married, Vanessa admitted that she loved me and wanted to steal me away from Laura. But nothing came from it. Vanessa was a touch nasty, but I always assumed she was a calculating lady, so I maintained my distance. Laura and I intended to spend our whole lives together, and now we're more honest about our feelings. Now I often visit Ryan's club. The Ice Maidens dance was more handy for me than before. Laura and I haven't seen Vanessa since. Laura assaulted me as soon as I went through the front door after returning home from a vacation. She quickly took me into the bedroom. Once inside, she shoved me into the bed. My trousers and underpants were quickly removed. I don't recall whether she also removed my shoes and socks. Perhaps she removed them before attacking me, but I was too caught up in the moment to notice it. I observed her. Laura was very good, surpassing Lisa and Vanessa, although probably not as remarkable as the small Chinese lady I once met in Southend. I am quite fortunate that she shares such a great likeness to Giali. I nearly made a major mistake. Before I married Laura, I had an affair with Vanessa. Identical twins have several benefits. Vanessa was merely beautiful in appearance. However, there is nothing extraordinary. I may have angered her by claiming she wasn't very good in bed. However, I've never been very interested in her. I wonder whether Vanessa noticed Brian and I had traded positions. If she did, she made no attempt to show it. I believe it will provide some insight on why she was attempting to blame me. I have always considered myself a gentleman, but I have never pretended to be flawless. We simply need to maintain being cautious and alert as we go through life. What a wild journey. Do you believe Laura and Kev's marriage will endure given all that happened? Is trust too damaged to repair? Please share your ideas in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell for more tales.